From the galactic depths of the comic book universe comes the ghosts of the stratosphere, ready to galvanize and energize your mind with the latest of comic book news and reviews. And why are you stopping me? Yes, that's much better. Hi, this is Andy Larson for Ghosts of the Stratosphere. Join me every week along with my co-hosts Rob Stewart and Chad Smith, as well as a cavalcade of fantastic comic book guests as we dish out heaping helpings of the greatest and latest of comic book news and reviews. New shows posted every Tuesday with bonus shows every first Friday of the month. You can find us on iTunes and Stitcher under Ghosts of the Stratosphere, as well as on our website www.gotstratosphere.com. Hope to see you soon, folks.
Hi there, this is John from Pint Comics.
This is the other John from Pint Comics.
And we just wanted to warn you before you tune into our quite excellent show that we may or may not use, what type of term would you use for the language, John?
Swearing with flair.
Swearing with flair.
Colorful language.
Colorful language.
Or just plain out, I don't know.
Gutter talk.
Gutter talk, there we go.
You've been warned. Listen in.
Welcome to the Pint Movie Invitational Series.
I have to believe in a world outside my own mind. I have to believe that my actions still have meaning, even if I can't remember them. I have to believe that when my eyes are closed, the world's still there. Do I believe the world's still there? Is it still out there? Yeah. We all need mirrors to remind ourselves who we are. I'm no different.
All right, welcome back to another episode. That's right, welcome back. I say it, he hates it, he shakes his head, he snickers, he makes faces at me. Pint of Comics, Sir John, Johnny Ganache. Special guest tonight. We're so used to saying Jerry Morgan at this point. Jerry from Fistful of Jokes is like a third member of our crew, along Lloyd. But tonight we got his brother. We got Andrew Morgan. Andrew, what's going on?
Hey, what's up, everybody?
How you doing?
You guys are already bickering like the Muppet couple in the balcony. That's good.
Statler and Waldorf.
Yeah.
First question, Andrew. You and Jerry both do the Fistful of Jokes
Yes.
podcast and the website where you sell tickets to comedy shows in New Haven.
Yep.
We'll let you plug that in a little bit.
Okay.
First question right out of the gate.
Yeah.
You're both stand-ups. Who's funnier, you or Jerry?
Well, Jerry's kind of taken a slight back.
No. I'm not asking that. I'm saying when you and Jerry are both.
Oh, it's me.
It is you. Okay. Yeah. So what would you describe your style like and his style like?
We're both very self-deprecating, but I do it well.
I did see you on I think it was Public Access and Chill.
Oh, yeah? You watched that?
I did see your joke about you look like every retail manager you've ever seen before.
Yeah.
I'm a retail manager, so I can appreciate that because I've known many guys that look like you.
Yeah, exactly. It's just it's a certain dejection mixed with like just pasty white, just that guy who's just been there too long.
Yeah. He should have
It's
either
all
moved
that.
up or moved out at this point.
Yeah.
I gotta do another double.
Yeah. But I do, not to rehash my own, but I did that bit because I get it everywhere. I went to the grocery store once in a baseball jersey, and I still had multiple people come up and be like, "Excuse me, do you work here? Do you know where this?" I was like, "What do I have to do?
Yeah.
What do I have to do to not get this question?" But I get it all the time.
I had a woman in a Walmart in Wisconsin, in Lake Geneva, Wisconsin, come up to me and go, "Excuse me, sir, can you help me?" And I'm like, I don't work here. She goes, I just need someone with long legs.
Ooh, that sounds like a personal proposition.
Okay. She wanted me to get some bottles off the top shelf for her. Soda bottles that she couldn't reach because she was only 3'2". So, I mean.
Did you do it for her?
Yes, I did.
You're such a sweet fucking guy.
Exactly.
I'd been drinking already. So.
Well, and that sounds like you were apparently shaving your legs in the middle of a grocery store. Ooh, those legs.
Sounds like any day that ends in a Y for John.
And then after that, I got the biggest box of Cheez-It I could find. You know that
you love Cheez-Its, man.
2.5 pound box that they sell.
Do you strictly love the regular Cheez-Its, or do you
No.
go outside into like the what do they have? Sour cream and onion? I don't know.
No, I don't think they do that. I like the really crispy stuff. So
Yeah,
they're now doing like double toasted or something. Those are great.
really.
Oh, they're awesome.
Sounds like you were double toasted when you bought it. So that's
Probably was.
Yeah.
Gary Conn rules.
So Andrew, give us a quick rundown of Fistful of Jokes, and give us a rundown of what we're calling Ha Ha Hamden.
Yeah, that's our new monthly show. Myself and my buddy Josh Levinson are running under the Fistful banner at Space Ballroom, their new renovated front room. It's gorgeous. If you see our pictures of it on Fistful of Jokes Instagram and stuff like that, or Facebook, it's absolutely awesome. They redid it. It's so professional. It's such a great room. And our first one went really well. Thanks to everybody who came out. I'm sure you're all Pint of Comics listeners and Pint Movie Invitational listeners. Fistful of Jokes, Jerry and I started it, as just a monthly show like we're doing now with the Ha Ha Hamden thing back at Cafe 9 when we were only like 6 months into comedy. Somebody asked us, they were looking to do comedy there, and we started it up. And now we're like 7 years ago now.
Right.
And over time, we developed a relationship with the people who run the now Space Ballroom, used to be the Outer Space Ballroom, and College Street Music Hall in New Haven. And we've been helping them run the comedy shows there ever since, like helping them book and helping them promote and doing the whole thing there and occasionally being on them. I've gotten some great opportunities myself out of that. I opened for Kyle Kinane last year at this time.
Oh, he's funny. I've seen him.
He's one of my favorites.
Do you have tickets to the beer fest? It's going to be at the College Street. Remember?
I do not.
Oh, what a shame.
Yeah, that's one of the things they're like, yeah, you guys are really good at comedy. Hey, man, can I go see his comedy? No, you can't. No, you can't do that.
I know that feeling.
Yeah.
And who do you have for College Street coming up for the rest of the year? I know Craig Ferguson, right?
Craig Ferguson will be there in December, so keep an eye out for that. We got some stuff going on.
Okay, so Ha Ha Hamden, is that a weekly thing?
It's monthly.
Monthly.
It's every second Monday of the month.
If people want to check you out, they go to fistfulofjokes.com.
Yes.
And then they can get all their tickets and all that stuff and check out check out the podcast you and Jerry do together. I guess Jerry's doing it predominantly more now, right?
Yeah, Jerry pretty much, he runs it now.
Right.
I pop on every now and then.
Yeah, I was on an episode with you, actually. That's how we met.
The Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Ant-Man and the Wasp, that's right.
That was a fun show.
Okay,
all right.
That was a fun
I finally
show.
did see that. So
it was enjoyable, right? I mean, it was not great, but it was enjoyable.
I thought it was pretty good.
And they corrected the biggest flaw in the first one was they took that goon haircut off of Evangeline Lilly.
Yes,
and they re-hodified her immediately.
They actually mentioned it in the script in the dialogue. They bring it up.
Do they really?
Yeah, it's
I don't remember.
What's his name? His buddy there.
Oh, Luis Pena.
He brings it up.
Yeah,
he's just
because there was like a flashback scene where they made her wear the wig.
Yes,
and you're like, man, this is like
so
flashbacks.
Bad.
This is so bad. She's so beautiful, and this haircut is just like a fucking train wreck.
When I watched Ant-Man, I didn't even know it was her because of that bad haircut.
Really?
It took me most of the movie before I realized, like, oh, that's
which is fascinating because she's in Lord of the Rings.
Yes.
You know it's instantly her, and then you're watching Ant-Man. You have to play games. It's like, what the fuck? This doesn't work.
How weird is that, though?
He's a fucking elf.
All right, so let's get down to brass tacks.
Yeah.
We've been talking for months now. We had the idea a while ago of doing a series of shows called the Pint Movie Invitational Series. And the idea was we wanted to focus on one movie at a time, and we wanted to invite people on.
As much as we can focus.
As much as we can focus. We wanted to invite people on that are friends of the show or people that we know through the show somehow. Let them pick a movie. They pick a movie. We all watch it separately at some point, and then we convene here like a book club, and we talk about that movie. And the movie could be anything. The movie could be a favorite of yours. I don't know if I've said this, so anybody that wants to be on the show, listen in. It could be a favorite of yours. It could be something you hate and you want to make us watch. It could be anything along those lines. Now,
Right.
Andrew, you're going to let us know. This is the first. We're whether this comes out first or not. This is the first recorded.
Yeah.
All right. So you're going to let us know what movie you picked and the reason you picked.
We are going to do Memento, Christopher Nolan's Memento. I chose this movie because it's one of my favorites. Nolan's one of my guys, and this was the thing that broke him and introduced us all to him, or at least me. I mean, I'm sure maybe people discovered him later, definitely not from Insomnia, probably, but like
That was a good movie.
If they went, it's pretty good. Like as far as his catalog, we can get into that, but like we'll see. But yeah, so I think it's a movie that I didn't hear talked about a lot since it broke.
Yeah.
Which is funny because, like, if you go on IMDb, it's like literally like in the top 50 of all time.
I didn't write it down, but
there.
Who is it? The National
Library of
Congress.
Like
they just put it in like 2 years ago as a historical.
Yeah.
Whatever that is. I meant to write. I wrote a million things down and write that down, but they put it in as one of these like historical movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know
it's
why?
impressive.
Because it's a classic, I guess.
All right.
I mean, especially for that time period. I mean, we can also get into all this, but like certain things, because I'm sure we all watched it recently.
Yeah, I watched it 2 days ago.
Yeah, so there's certain I think there's one particular thing that doesn't hold up that shows the date of it, even though
Polaroids?
it's only 18. Yeah. No, because I mean that actually made a comeback probably after that movie.
Yeah,
at some point where I had
exactly.
one. Right, exactly.
Actually, no, that was
Because they still exist, and I still think even if it was done now, he would have still had to use it because he needs it instantly.
Well, why don't, before we get into all that, why don't you give a brief and quick rundown of, and again, if you're listening to this episode, obviously spoilers are going to be abound for these episodes, so you're going to hear it all. So if you didn't see the movie, shut off, go watch the movie, come hang out with us and listen to it. And if you don't care, just keep listening to it, and we'll spoil it for you anyway. Yeah. So give everybody out there who hasn't seen it or who has seen it a quick rundown of what the basic plot. And this is the hardest movie to give a quick rundown of a basic plot for in terms of everything we're going to be doing here. But go ahead.
Yeah, because the structure's obviously part of the main process of the movie. But in short, it's basically a guy, Leonard Shelby, who has a condition where his hippocampus was damaged.
Anterograde amnesia.
Yep. He has a condition where he can't remember anything that happened before or anything after his accident for like more than a couple of minutes. Which, we'll talk about that too, where kind of Nolan plays with how much time.
Yeah.
But he can only remember things for a few minutes, and he's chasing down the person this guy, John G., who raped and murdered his wife. And he has a certain cast of characters who help him, and he also tries to help along the way, but obviously is impaired by his memory and has to try to seek his revenge.
So it's kind of
it's a revenge movie.
It's a revenge murder mystery in a way.
Yes.
Okay, because we're not sure. And the great thing about this movie to me is that not only is the audience not sure what's going on and really what's happening, the main character isn't.
Right, which is very unique.
When you have an unreliable narrator,
yeah,
it's that forms. Now, let's get into, before we get into a lot of other stuff, the structure of the movie. Okay, so John, do you want to explain how this movie is set up in terms of like how it's shown and the structure?
It's filmed backwards. Or it's shown backwards.
It's shown backwards to an extent.
To an extent.
The color scenes are done backwards. The black and white scenes are done forwards. And then
they meet at
one point. I'm being very vague here.
If you couldn't tell, John's not a huge fan.
You don't have the formula written down, John, where they numbered.
I did read that
scene, and then they tell you exactly the order to make it chronological.
I'll put it this way. Fuck no.
The color scenes are A through M, I believe.
Yeah,
and then the black and white scenes are 1 through 12 or 1 through 15. And if you put each one against another one, it will form a chronological story.
I think I read that somewhere that they jump through time 113 times in a 120-minute movie.
Really?
Yeah.
let's put it this way: if you're not a fan of the way Stephen King writes a book, you're not going to be a fan of this movie. Which I
think maybe that's why I love it, because I grew up reading tons of Stephen King.
Right, and it's not to say that's why I'm going to tear this thing apart, but it just is.
Yeah.
All right, so why don't we start with the basics
Sure.
of, you want to start with cast before we start getting into everything else?
Guy Pearce plays Leonard Shelby. He's the main character who has the vendetta and the, I guess, I don't know what you would call it, a brain damage or
I
would.
Just a condition.
He calls it brain damage in one scene.
Yeah.
He actually says brain damage at one point. So
he's great. We can go down. I don't know if you guys do categories of things besides who was supposed to play the role.
I did.
Oh, really? I don't know any of that.
Brad Pitt.
Yeah, Brad Pitt was
attached
to
to
it.
I could see that.
Yeah. Especially have that same, at least, look, Guy Pearce, especially for when he dyed his hair and did the whole thing that way.
Did he not want to be shirtless and tattooed again after doing Snatch?
Right. Well, he just had come off of Fight Club, and that's kind of like he still had that same look and vibe, too. So it's interesting if he did those back
and another movie with a completely unreliable narrator.
Yeah, absolutely.
So maybe he looked at it as maybe a little bit too...
on the nose.
Same wheelhouse, they're different movies, but like, okay.
I forget which one that he chose to do instead. I know that originally
in
was
2000. Yeah, in 2000 it was probably Jesus, what did he do? I don't know. So he goes ahead and we have Guy Pearce. We can branch off a little bit.
He also wanted Aaron Eckhart.
That would have been nice.
I did read that because that's how he ended up knowing him for Dark Knight.
Yeah.
No kidding.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool. I like that.
There were other people that were up for it too, like Charlie Sheen, I remember, and which would have been a terrible fucking idea.
Right after doing Men at Work.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
I watched that 2 weeks ago.
Oh, did you?
It's on Amazon Prime.
Oh, is it?
Holds up, man. You ever see Men at Work?
Yeah, of course.
Fucking great movie.
Holds up. What is that? A Reagan mask or a Nixon? Which?
Yeah. Was it Nixon or Reagan?
Commie bastard gets no food.
I don't know. I just rewatched Point Break too, so my brain's all fucking scrambled.
As I'm watching Men at Work, I'm realizing halfway through it, I'm like, this is Charlie Sheen and Keith David. This is a Platoon reunion, 3 years later, and
Keith David going nuts.
Yeah, commie bastard gets no food. All right, so I do want to branch off real quick. We'll do this. We'll branch off on stuff.
Sure,
Guy Pearce has been since probably a little bit before Memento. He's one of my favorites. He doesn't get a lot.
He doesn't get enough credit.
He doesn't get enough credit. I mean,
he also has poor fucking choices for what his talent is too. I don't know what's offered to him.
Yeah.
But his choices of what he did do. I remember he had all that shine from, well, you had LA Confidential and Memento really kind of brought him into the States being this bigger thing. And then he did something like The Time Machine. I was like, cool, your career's over.
Yeah.
Well, he did Ravenous, which
sucked.
Ravenous
is good.
We love it.
Smaller.
But it also, it made no money.
No, it made no money.
Matter of fact, based on the heat he kind of got from LA Confidential and then Memento really stabilizing that. He was the original choice for Daredevil before Ben Affleck.
I can see that.
He turned it down, which I think is funny, saying he didn't want to do, and this was showing the time, he didn't want to do superhero stuff.
And then
meanwhile, 10 years later, he does Iron Man 3.
Even as a similar point, then he dipped into the Alien franchise. So
that's right. He's Peter Weyland. I forgot about that because I hate those movies.
The later ones are all together.
No, the later ones.
Okay.
Prometheus, I could deal with, even though it's really stupid. It was a beautiful movie.
Yeah.
Alien Covenant was just fucking stupid and bad, and I don't want to even think about it.
Okay. I haven't gotten there yet.
Don't keep yourself away from that. Guy Pearce. Also, I want to throw this out there for anybody that just wants to throw a movie in. If you haven't seen it, he did a movie about 5 years ago. It's an Australian movie called The Rover. Have you ever seen that?
Yeah.
I love that movie.
Yeah.
It's a great movie. The kid who gets all the shit for playing sparkly vampire. What's his name? Robert Pattinson.
Robert Pattinson.
He's great in that movie. He plays like kind of like a dim-witted Southern guy who's a criminal. He's really good.
He's good.
He is good.
I think again, like if you were in that age level where Twilight, came out, and like basically if you're not a teenage girl, you were just a little too far past that at any point,
right?
It's kind of like people who probably didn't take Mark Hamill seriously for a time period if you were just too old for Star Wars maybe at some point. Or
that Corvette summary.
Hey, he was in the Big Red one.
Well, Robert Pattinson, I think if he had less talent, could have ended up being Hayden Christensen.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh.
Hayden Christensen has very little talent.
Yeah.
That's the truth.
Yeah.
A lot of times when people
Even then, I've seen him do some good stuff. Like, I like Life as a House. Have you ever seen that?
Never saw it. Uh-oh.
No? It's a little
Take that
much.
tack out of your lip.
Yeah, it's not Kevin Kline's greatest stuff, but I enjoyed it.
Kevin Kline just eats every scene that he's in that movie. That movie is
does. Well,
so
let's
bad.
remember
his story.
Let's remember two things about Kevin Kline right off the bat. He's a great actor. And he's married to Phoebe Cates.
Yeah.
Phoebe Cates, even probably at 55.
Yeah.
Good for him. You
Yeah,
know,
why is he still working?
Why is he still working? Exactly.
Because he wants to. He
I
just
know.
chooses to do it.
Yeah.
He's-
Why
he's-
isn't she working, I guess?
Yeah.
she doesn't want to.
Yeah, she
Yeah,
basically just retired.
That's insane.
And you know what?
She went to basically raise their kids.
Yeah.
And
I think the last thing she ever did was Drop Dead Fred.
no, there's a couple of movies that she's done, like art house movies that she's done.
Right.
But
Hey, good
no
for
one's
her.
seen
She had
it.
her,
Yeah.
moment. Whatever.
yeah,
She
no,
can do it.
she's pretty happy doing. I guess she works for the Screen Actors Guild too. So
Okay.
All right, so let's bring it back into Memento.
I know, right?
Guy Pearce. Okay,
It's
and
a
then-
movie we're talking about.
And then you go to the Matrix twins. All right, we have
What,
Joey
Chris?
Pants, Joe Pantoliano.
Oh, you're talking about the actual.
Yeah.
the actors. We got Joey Pantoliano as Teddy.
Yeah.
Right. He's
Who got the role because of Carrie Ann Moss.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if it was one way or the other.
Who did they originally want?
Not Joey P.
No, and that's what's insane.
Joe Rigobudo.
Oh God, I'm gonna forget. You guys can keep going. I'm gonna look. Actually,
he's gonna look it up.
Nice.
And then
I'm going to say every Joe I know. Joe Rogan.
Joe Rogan. Yeah. Joe Bonamassa, the guitar player. So we have Joey Pants. We'll get back to who they originally wanted. Carrie Ann Moss. Let me say this right now. Carrie Ann Moss, I think she didn't really get enough play. She's kind of like Guy Pearce. She was pretty good in this movie.
Yeah.
She was pretty good in at least the first Matrix. And I gotta say, I guess I didn't pay attention to it back then. She's pretty hot.
In this movie, she's extremely
pretty hot.
attractive, and I think what happened with the Matrix, see, it's a thing with me. I mean, the short hair never really does it for me.
Yeah, me too.
So here she's got longer hair, and she just looks really good.
well, this movie starts the pattern of behavior of Christopher Nolan that I want to know. I want to talk to his therapist because he not only likes brunettes who have short hair, but they all have to fucking be dead. Like, there's dead wives in so many of his movies.
Right.
She's obviously not the wife, but look at the wife of Leonard Shelby.
Yeah.
Not too dissimilar
Yeah.
to what Carrie Ann Moss's hair kind
And you
of
know
looks
who
like
that
and all
is.
that stuff. So.
I didn't watch the show, but I recognized
Yeah,
her and I
it's-
looked it up.
it's Georgia
Fox
Fox.
from CSI.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she was
I
on-
wasn't a CSI person, but I know. Yeah.
Matter of fact,
I'm watching it again now, so
Okay.
CSI.
yeah.
Okay.
I there's a bunch of seasons I didn't really watch.
Well, there
for
was
years.
39 seasons.
Right.
So you have.
So I want to get up to the point where William Peterson leaves and then maybe stop, but I'm slowly working my way through it. And I remember Georgia Fox was a big deal at the time that she got hired for CSI, but she's kind of a peripheral character. She's a major part of the cast, but she's not in every episode.
She bigger or
Right.
smaller than George Eads?
Much smaller.
Okay, I was just
honestly.
kidding. I wanted to say the
No,
guy's name.
George Eads has got more episodes than anybody else in that series. He was from day one to the very last episode.
Even the black guy from Alien Resurrection with the dreads. Was he in that? Right?
who?
Gary Durdane.
Gary Durdane. Yeah, he left about season 7 or 8. So.
Wow. All right, who was it? Who was
Dennis Leary.
Dennis Leary? Okay,
Yeah.
I could have seen
Could have
that.
been interesting. I mean, Joey Pants is incredible. I never want to not see Joey Pants in a movie.
Yeah.
But I think, especially with what he ended up doing with the role, not that I don't think Dennis Leary can do it, but look-wise, Joey Pants kind of has this, like, smile that gets him past, or he can pass as being nice.
Yeah.
But he can also, and he does in so many movies, ends up being that snarky little fucking pissant thing that happens all the time, which is actually their concern, that he couldn't ride the line of what Teddy is in this movie. And then he did the screen test and did the whole thing, and that sold him.
And Teddy is the character in the movie. I guess we'll go over this real quick. We know Guy Pearce played Leonard, and you explained that.
Yeah.
Teddy is this character who's helping him out.
Yeah.
And you don't know why. And that's part of the central mystery of the story
Right.
is Leonard is looking for whoever, John G. raped and murdered my wife. he's been looking for him, and Teddy is this guy that keeps popping up in his life.
Right.
But they never explain how they
Lenny.
met. Yeah, Lenny.
Yeah.
And he, you know, he's a cop. Is he a cop?
Right.
He's a very, everybody in this movie is a duplicitous character.
Yeah.
Every single person.
Everybody. Yeah. And Carrie Ann Moss is a bartender who also seems to be helping Leonard out, and in one scene proves that she totally is not.
Right.
She's another one. She's working for herself, but she has reasons because she thinks that, and they're good reasons.
Yeah.
She thinks that Leonard has done something really bad to someone she cares about, which in the end we'll get to.
Oh,
he has.
She knows.
She knows.
She knew.
It's
Yeah.
the dumbest thing he could possibly done.
Yeah.
And
put
at
on
some
their
point,
clothes.
I almost want to think that she manipulated that in some way. But
I think that, to be honest, and I don't know if this is jumping the gun, but that's my favorite scene in the movie.
when she
when she pulls the double play.
Yeah,
on him,
and you realize
being
how
like-
short term his memory really
Yeah,
is.
She put so his problem
you just
is
have to close the door.
yeah.
It's like, hey, scene change.
and she truly does. There's a scene in the movie.
She flips the acting.
But I think
the whole methodology. of
her
what she's doing.
slowly taking the pens away and
Yeah.
knowing what he's going to have to try to do, like basically playing a chess game with him while fucking taunting the shit out of him. I think
What do they call
that's
him?
one of her best scenes
She
ever.
calls him a retard.
Does she call him a retard?
Oh yeah,
She calls him a retard. She calls him a fucking freak.
Freak. The
Yeah.
freak. The
Yeah.
freak is the word that keeps coming up throughout the film. It's
Yeah.
like, you're a fucking freak. You're
Yeah.
a freak, Leonard. You're a freak. They all call him that.
Yeah.
And-
Joey Pants calls him that at one point too.
Yeah. So, but I think that's easily, like, there's so many Joey Pants scenes I like too, but I think that one is the scene that really shows what his relationship is with everybody pretty much, but she illuminates her version.
Right.
I think it really nails down what the movie is at that point. So, and that's about halfway through. Maybe
it's about half, maybe a little further.
Yeah.
It's in the end, we'll get to this. It's just a non-redemptive. There really is nothing good happening in this movie.
No.
It's you think it's a revenge movie until you find out that it's a long past over revenge movie.
Yeah.
And we'll get to the whole story. I just wanted to go through the cast.
No. I mean, there's a subplot that we're dealing with too, where he's trying to tell the story of someone that he had dealt with supposedly in his past.
Yes. Sure. Yeah.
And it's kind of an allegory of what's going on in the movie at the time.
Oh yeah.
So it's a lot to handle at once.
Yeah. Let's cover the rest of the cast real quick. Then we'll go right.
Which,
into
by the
story.
way, Carrie Ann Moss beat out, I know, at least Mary McCormick.
Yeah, I did read Mary McCormick was.
And then I think there was something
good.
Else, I think they chose correctly.
Yeah.
I don't hate Mary McCormick.
I don't either, but she's gotten kind of. She's not typecast, but she's playing the same role pretty much in every movie since like Independence Day. So
she wasn't. Was she in Independence
Wasn't
Day?
she in that, or is that somebody else? But she's basically the same white bread wife of the lead character, and so on and so forth. So it's just she almost has the same lines in every movie at this point.
Yeah. She's interchangeable. No, Carrie Ann Moss is great.
That's too bad.
One of the things I noticed about this movie was there's a small cast in this movie. There's only like a handful of main players, and then you have everybody in this movie is someone that you know from something else. So the guy Bert who runs the motel, that is Mark Boone Jr., who's known for he was on Sons of Anarchy the entire run.
Yeah,
he was in Batman Begins. And he's a character actor. He was in a movie I saw years ago that Steve Buscemi directed. I can't remember the name of it, but him and Steve Buscemi played best friends.
Okay.
It's a real small role, but in the Sammy,
it's bigger than you realize.
No. I mean, this is a real small role. What I'm getting to. So you have the Sammy Jenkins character is Stephen Tobolowsky, who obviously is Groundhog Day. Ned Ryerson, and I mean he's George's holistic healer in Seinfeld for that one episode.
Yep.
He's on the Goldbergs. He's the principal. My wife watches that show. He's on that. It's triangles.
It's all the triangles.
His doctor in the scenes where he's getting shocked is Thomas Lennon. Thomas Lennon from Reno 911, and
who also later ends up in Dark Knight, I believe.
Did he really?
Yeah, he's the doctor again in Dark Knight when he checks out
Scarecrow.
No, he checks out Christian Bale when he got hurt from something. He checks. He goes to some physical.
Yeah, you're right.
Of some sort, and that's Thomas Lennon.
And anytime Christian Bale is not in the costume, I'm pretty much not paying attention.
So Georgia Fox plays Leonard's wife. Yeah. The only people I think. Oh, and then the other one I recognized is the guy Dodd, who he beats up and has. That's Callum Keith Rennie, who was on Battlestar, the new Battlestar Galactica. He's a character actor. He's in a ton of TV shows.
I think I heard. Wasn't he in something else with Carrie-Anne Moss?
He might have been. He's a Canadian actor. He's a Canadian. Okay. He's like a super Canadian character actor.
That's the one that plays Jenkins, his wife.
Yeah. His wife was familiar too.
She's been in tons and tons.
Yeah, she's
tons
one of those
TV.
like, oh yeah, people.
The only two people that I couldn't put a face to that I've seen before was the hooker that he was doing the coke in the bathroom, and I think the guy he asked directions for in the very small role. But everybody in this movie is somebody.
Did you know Jimmy?
Seen. No, Jimmy, I did not know.
Jimmy, I didn't know.
No, Jimmy was looks like maybe a one and done guy too.
Yeah,
Jimmy, the drug dealer
who
that
kills, who he convinces a Jimmy G. And
right.
Yeah, you're right.
I pulled the cast up here. Let me see if I recognize any of these people. Russ Vega is the waiter, who I don't remember.
That's the guy who
died. Oh, Jimmy, Larry Holden.
No,
got nothing.
No, he was probably in Dark Knight Rises, Inmate 57.
Yeah, I was gonna say like a lot of these people, he stays loyal. It seems
does.
like Nolan, does that, and obviously it shows something about that they want to work with him still. I mean, because he doesn't seem the type to be like a David Fincher director where he's going to make you do 85 takes and then run you through the coals to make you insane. So I think it's a little bit easier, especially for this shoot was really short. From what I understand was like 25 days or something.
I wrote it down. So it came out wide release was May 25th of 01 for the US, but it came out in some European countries in 2000.
2000, yeah.
And I think the some film festival was early 2001. It was made for $9 million. It made 25 in the U.S. and 39 worldwide. So it was a big hit for new market pictures, and this is obviously what jumped him up. Filmed in and around L.A., September 7th to October 1st, 1999, less than a month.
Yeah.
Which again, isn't hard to believe. This is not, there's nothing in this movie. It
wasn't a very big budget movie either.
No, $9 million.
Right.
$9 million. I mean, I was actually surprised when I read $9 million. I was thinking, what cost $9 million in this thing? Because it really is. There's no effects. It's a bare bones movie.
Actors.
Plus, a lot of the things overlap. So, like, they probably just shot extended takes of things and then chopped it the way they needed to. So, I don't remember when I watched the chronological version, which is on the special edition, how long it was when they played it chronologically. But I would assume it's got to be way shorter than 2 hours.
Oh, do they not show the black and white scenes in the chronological version?
They do,
but they just put them all at the beginning? Or?
Right, but... in watching Memento, a lot of times you're seeing a scene play up to a certain...
Yeah.
And then they'll go back and they'll play.
It's
they've got to cut that out.
Again,
right.
There's exposition.
Right. So it seems like
they show certain parts of a scene twice.
Right.
So that you know where the bookend is.
Right. So assuming that they probably shot the full scene multiple times, then just chopped it where they need to position the camera.
And for people that don't know what you're talking about, chronological version. Yeah. Give them the rundown.
Well, it's exactly what it's. I mean, for a story that has two parallel stories but running in different directions between the color scenes and the black and white scenes, they play it from literally the beginning, meaning the first time you see Sammy Jenkins, like back when Leonard is an insurance investigator,
or
I guess is his title. Well, yeah, right. When he first meets Sammy Jenkins, learns his condition and meets his wife and does that whole stuff. So they started from literally the beginning, not like the beginning of whatever the chase is. So they play it in exact chronological order.
It's the bad guy job when it's combed down and the bad guy job when it's not.
Yeah.
I do want to say you're never going to get it because it's probably way out of print, but probably in the early 2000s, they came out with I have it right here, one of the coolest DVD sets of all time. Yeah. It's made to look...
And frustrating.
And frustrating. Oh, yeah.
When you first do it, it's very... I'm like, I just want to watch the damn movie.
It looks like it is a case file, and it has his name, Leonard, Shelby Leonard, an alleged mentally sick person. It says Memento. You open it up, and once you get into it, it basically looks like his case file.
Yeah.
And you've got different, like, you got a point where you have a note saying watch, like one of the notes he writes in it. And you've got different things in here, little body maps that show injury. And then in this DVD, there is a secret, in the menu, they give you a bunch of words, almost like a mental dexterity test.
Yeah.
And if you type in or hit certain words in a row, that will bring you to the chronological version. You unlock.
Yeah.
Remember when they did that back in DVDs and shit, and Easter eggs and stuff like that? And then they made Ready Player One, and nobody ever wants a fucking Easter egg ever again. All right. So, John, you were bringing this up before. So we have the story of Leonard Shelby, guy with anterograde amnesia. He can't form new memories, searching for the murderer of his wife. He has all these duplicitous people in his life that seem to be pointing him towards, Natalie wants him to kill off these drug dealers.
Right.
You don't know what Teddy's exactly doing. But then there's the Sammy Jenkins stuff.
Well, she wants him to kill Teddy.
She wants him to kill Teddy, right?
Yeah.
Teddy is apparently an FBI.
Teddy is apparently a cop.
Yeah, an undercover cop.
Right.
Yeah.
But the Sammy Jenkins stuff
Yeah.
with Stephen Tobolowsky, what is that all about?
It's essentially the story of a guy that he has apparently been involved with through he being Leonard as
he's an insurance
investigator.
Yeah.
So Sammy apparently has got the same damage to his brain. He can't formulate new memories. So he remembers basic stuff. He remembers how to speak. He remembers how to go to the bathroom. He knows how to put his clothes on. Unless he's reminded to do things, he doesn't do them.
He can't watch TV because it's too complicated.
Yeah,
but he loves
forgets
commercials.
it. Yeah, he likes commercials
because they're
brief.
30 seconds long. Yeah.
So it's interesting to see, and the whole thing is about whether or not he actually is faking it or not.
Right. Or whether he has the ability
to remember,
whether it's physical or mental.
Right. Physical or mental. Yeah.
Right,
Which is part of the problem with the,
Right.
with the investigation, I guess.
Yeah. Which drives the wife crazy and tests him and does all
I've got to find out what she was in again because she does crazy really well.
Yeah. Yeah.
So basically, when we get to this, though, at a certain point, those stories, the Sammy Jenkins story and Leonard's story, which are obviously already paralleling, converge to a point where we have to say, was this Leonard the whole time?
Right.
Do you, Andrew, think that there was no Sammy Jenkins and that the whole story was Leonard and we're moving on to, because there's the one really great scene, I know you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, the Flash.
The Flash, where they show Sammy in the in like the home.
Yeah.
He's in a home because his wife
He's in a mental facility.
Much like Leonard's wife was murdered.
Right.
Teddy at one point kind of suggests to him that she was never murdered. You did what Sammy supposedly did.
Right.
You OD'd her on her insulin.
Yeah. She tested you.
She tested you. You failed. And we have the one scene where he's sitting down, kind of just peacefully watching TV, and orderly walks by, and it becomes Leonard very fast.
Right. And you also have that. I think it's around the same time when they're doing that discussion, the scene where like his wife's eyes open. When they thought that she was dead underneath the shower curtain.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And, like her eyes open. You go, oh.
Yeah. And Teddy or whoever he's talking to at that point says, your wife survived.
Yeah.
It was you that, she survived that.
Right.
It was months later that you did this to her. So do you think in the end that there was ever a Sammy Jenkins? Or do you think?
I think there was a Sammy Jenkins. I just don't think that the story is the same.
Right.
I think, he's merging memories and things like that, which I think the beauty of that, there's a particular line in the movie where he explicitly explains to, I believe it's Teddy, saying how like the facts are what tells the story, memory and witness testimony is unreliable.
Memory can change the shape of a room. Memory can change the color of something. He says that. Right. Memory is not a record.
Right.
He made that. That was a great line.
Yeah.
It's true. Because think about stuff in your life. I could think about what I ate for dinner 2 hours ago, and I'm like, what did that look like? It was a sandwich.
Exactly,
did it have lettuce on it? I don't fucking remember.
Right,
exactly. It's not accepted testimony, so it's, we'll listen to you, but we're not going to accept that as fact.
Right.
Yeah, and he was saying, oh, this is what matters, his files, the facts that he has. But there is also a prism that it's coming through him. It's being tampered with constantly. It's being like you saw in one of the, I think, early scenes where he goes to try to get a tattoo and he changed it from being like he was on drugs to being a drug dealer.
Right.
And that was at the behest of whoever he's talking to on the phone. So you can tell he's being coached in some way or being led to, discover, quote unquote, new facts about the case, even though obviously anything entered at this point, because you don't know how much time has gone by. But later that at least, quote, from what Teddy says, that he killed the real John G. like a year ago. So however long it took him to do that. And
I guess one of the other things we want to talk about in the movie that we didn't really get to yet, in terms of anybody out there that may not remember or haven't seen it, is what does Leonard do to remind himself of things? What are two of the there's a Polaroid.
Yeah.
And then you said tattoos.
Right. And tattoos of facts of the case that like he can't forget.
Right.
Like the things that are, for him, as much as the tattoo is etched in stone.
Yeah.
Like
there was a scene where he could
change.
not write something down and it affected him horribly.
Yeah.
We discussed when Natalie really fucks with him, she takes all the pens out of the room. He has literally like, well, again, we don't know. It changes.
Right.
Let's just say he has a minute to remember this shit.
Right.
And she's basically telling him right to her face, I'm going to fucking lie to you.
Yeah.
And I'm going to get you to do what I want you to do because you're a fucking freak.
Yeah, we might even be lovers.
Yeah. And I'm going to
they are.
She literally walks out the door. He forgets, comes back in. So his tactic is he tattoos shit on himself.
Yeah.
Or he takes the Polaroid and he writes the notes on it.
Writes the notes on him as well.
Which is why the pens are so important.
Right.
Which is also, you've seen over the movie where he crosses things out on them and writes new things or adds addendums.
And you get to see, that's the great thing about the movie running it backwards. Is some of them have crossed out points where you're like, what did it say before? And then you see what it says before.
That drove me crazy when I first watched it, when you have Natalie's picture and like for the first half of the movie, it's crossed out top line. You're like, what the fuck does that say? Like you just want to know so badly. And then obviously it comes to light.
I honestly, I liked before the big scene with Natalie, where Bert lies to him to his face.
To rent out 2 rooms.
Other hotel
and
room.
then he tells him that he's lying to his face. And he's just like, well, thanks for being honest. It's like, well, I got to do what I got to do.
Bert,
and you're not going to remember anyway.
Right. And he's just like flat out, you're not going to remember. Who cares?
Bert, the motel manager, gets caught in a lie. He basically has been renting out Leonard 2 different rooms. And when he's confronted with it, he goes, I told my boss about your problem. And he said, try to get him for another room. And then Leonard, how many rooms do I have in this place? Just 2. Some of the tattoos, I just wrote down a couple just as I was watching. Consider the source is one of them. And then he has a series of facts. Fact 1, male. Fact 2, white. These are the perp who supposedly killed his wife. Remember Sammy Jenkins? That's one they probably show the most on his hand. And then, of course, he has the most harrowing one is across his collarbone. John G. raped and murdered my wife backwards. So he could see it in the mirror every day.
Really regretted that tattoo in college.
That is a. And if he did it a little bit, I was thinking if he did it a little bit over to the left, it would have been John graped and murdered my wife, and he'd probably be like, "What the fuck does that mean?"
That's true.
I think what I like more about the tattoos, rather than what they're representing, is the style that they're done. So you get some that are really cheap.
Some are great.
And then some that are professionally done.
Yeah.
And matter of fact, you meet one of the tattoo artists at one point,
Emma.
Who's another character actress. You're like, oh, that girl.
Yep, you're right. Actually,
woman.
Well, and the tattoo place is named after Christopher Nolan's wife, who produced the movie.
Emma Thompson, right?
Thomas.
Yeah. What was the name of it again? I remember.
It was Emma's tattoo.
Emma's tattoo.
Okay.
Yeah, because as you're watching the movie, you see on his forearm, like fact 5 or whatever, it's like Roman numerals, really solidly well done. And then on his like leg, it's drug dealer. It looks like it's written by a drug dealer. You know?
Yeah.
I like how he's got the Post-it note to his leg.
Yeah, shave here. Yeah.
Well, and that, for how much I love this movie, one of the hokiest thing, like a nitpick thing, especially rewatching it, is, especially because at the time, think of computers in the time from like 2000 to now or whatever. The font choices of some of the things you can clearly tell were like cool fonts at the time. I'm surprised he didn't have a Comic Sans one. Right. But he has one.
Papyrus.
he takes off one of the notes, I think actually where he just shaved, or maybe at the time, he pulled up his pants or whatever, and it says, don't answer the phone when he's already on the phone. And the fucking impact font or whatever the hell it is that it like goes. It's so hokey.
It was like it was like on an italic or a slant too, right?
It goes up kind of like a pyramid. Actually, you know what it looks like? It looks like a Wi-Fi signal. It's kind of like in that baseball field.
I didn't recognize the font, but when I saw that, I went, "That's a corny one." Yeah. Don't answer the phone, but it's all stylized.
But
like
it looks like it's yelling at you. It's got that thing to it, and I think it was done on purpose, but it's so corny.
Do you think Leonard would have ever gone and asked for it? Like, in my opinion, he would have just said, just write, don't answer the phone on me.
Right.
Like, it almost seems like...
That's the tattoo artist.
It almost seems like the tattoo artist was like, can I do something? What the fuck are we doing with you all the time? Can I do something here?
Yeah, exactly.
You can still read it, but I'm going to do something interesting here.
Yeah. I'm surprised he didn't go for, like, 2-for-1s or something like that. They do. Like, especially, like, if the hotel guy is renting out extra rooms, how does he not have a fucking eagle on his back? This like
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, I know you asked for this. I'm writing down real detailed shit. Well, why is it back there? I can't read it.
But again, that's where one of the failings of the movie is for me. If he's got this kind of memory issue, he should be waking up halfway through the tattoo at some point. Like, what am I doing here? Ow, this hurts. What's going on?
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
I guess that's true in a way, but I would think that he would have his notes with him at all times to kind of be like,
but we
kind
didn't
of like
get
the
that,
edge of sketch.
so.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I figured he'd probably have a note on his lap or something.
Yeah.
You know, getting tattoo,
Maybe.
you know. Yeah, I agree. They don't show it, so
There's-
you don't know it.
There's a lot of little gaps like that you're going to jump over that kind of stuff.
But
and it's just nitpicky stuff. But
right. But those are things I think that I noticed way long after the fact.
maybe
Like in rewatches or like many years later or something like that, because I don't think I had a lot of any true issues in the moment with the movie, and I think it's partially because of how it's done, and I think he knew that to an extent, that it becomes this disorienting thing, this untrusting thing. Like, well, Christopher Nolan flat out says it in The Anatomy of a Scene, that's also on the second disc of the special edition, that he wanted a movie that made the audience feel like how Leonard felt, where like you constantly are questioning, constantly not knowing where you are, what time period you're in, what.
It's certainly a movie, in my opinion, that requires a second viewing.
Totally.
You know, I know when I saw it in the theaters, and I really liked it because I remember when it came out. I remember it was really hyped.
Yeah.
You know, this is it's a different movie, and I went and saw it, and I didn't see it in the theaters again, but I was glad when I got it on DVD because,
right,
like, holy shit! I mean, they're really Again, it's not in the end, it's not a complex plot. But when you factor in his condition, the way it's told,
the Sammy Jenkins
stuff, I got to be honest, watching it the other morning, and obviously I know how it's running.
Right.
There were points where we got to a beginning of a scene that I know the scene just ended in the other direction, and I'm like disoriented. I'm like, fuck, what just happened or is about to happen?
Right.
Like, how is he here? Oh, that's right, because that was after. Like,
sure.
Even upon repeat viewings, it's still a little disorienting.
And I don't have that problem with it.
No?
No.
You're smarter than me. I don't know.
I don't look at it that way. It's just the way I can put two and two together, I guess. And it's probably why I've never really felt that this movie was an exceptional film. It's good. It's clever. But it's nothing spectacular to me. I mean, it's an interesting plot device, and that's about it for me. Although good performances from the actors.
Okay, I was going to say you liked because I do think it's well
acted.
Well,
I like Panigliano. I like him a lot. Anyway, even with the creepy mustache of these guys,
he has.
I mean, it's just.
I think him and Carrie-Anne Moss steal the show.
They really do.
I think, but it has to be that way because of Pierce's quote condition.
He's the central figure. He's not the lead role, I guess.
Yeah.
Maybe. I mean, he really is the lead role. It's a
Everything
weird
filters through him, but he can't be that guy.
Yeah.
And I think, if anything, as a person who absolutely loved it, when I watched it multiple times, I worked for a movie theater when this movie came out, and I watched it full on at one point, and then every break that I would get, like 15, 20-minute break, whatever, I would go in there and just watch like movie repeatedly, like the little bits. And it's because I was like obsessed with it in the sense of like, because there's more to it in a movie like that, or things that you probably missed, even if maybe you didn't. I think it's also good to know like how I got to this point, or how they wanted to tell the story and the deep dive. And that's part of the movies that I like, are movies that I call them parking lot movies, where basically you see the movie and then you just can't fucking leave the theater. Like somebody has to like shove you out because you and your friends are sitting there going, well, what about this? Did you see this? And this, and there's a good long story that you're going to do, and there's multiple opinions and things like that, which I actually, versus say Inception later on, where you can also do that. I think this one, because I don't think it's as complicated as Inception, but it's also good that it's not, because it's also a better story to dissect. Because Inception, there's so many things where you're like, what the fuck was that?
I'll give you that. Inception was a lot more complex.
It's basically down to earth Inception in a way. Because it's, a more personal story. Again, fucking dead wife stuff. But but Inception, they're playing so much with taking liberties of what the mind and the dreamscape and those things are versus.
It's got one of the worst actors in it, though.
John doesn't like Leo.
Oh yeah,
I'm not a Leo fan. And also, that movie was stolen by
Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
He stole that movie.
He's great.
That whole.
I thought Tom Hardy stole it too. I thought those guys, especially as a pair, the scenes where they're in together.
I'll have to watch it again.
Are the most fun you can have.
Yeah.
But I honestly, I walked out of that. I did see that in the theater, and I walked out of there thinking that Gordon-Levitt was like the next big coming of the actors in Hollywood.
That one scene where he's got to babysitting them. And the room is spinning, and he's got to take care of all that.
Well, that's just
I'm again. He was great in the movie, but I'm just saying when you get to like a kind of like a set piece scene,
technical thing.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful thing.
It was so well done.
Yeah,
and,
but he really, I mean, overall, just his character and the way he portrayed it, just. All right, we're moving off of Memento here.
No, that's right. Well, we're going to talk all the Nolan universe.
But that definitely, I really came to appreciate him after that.
Yeah.
So, and Inception, which was a fine movie, definitely. If you took DiCaprio out and put somebody else in there, it probably would have been like one of my top movies of the year.
I like DiCaprio.
I just don't like him.
By the just a quick aside, fun fact: I was on my honeymoon in Ireland when I saw Inception, and the only reason why we were seeing a movie instead of seeing, I don't know, Ireland, which I never saw before, I got really sick. So I was just like, we got caught in a rainstorm. Shock, Ireland. You fucking stereotype. And then so we got caught in a rainstorm. I got a cold and I was like really sick. So I was like, let's just watch a movie instead of like walking around. And we saw Inception, and being on cold medication and going like kind of slowly falling asleep a little bit in parts of watching Inception
trippy.
Was fucking crazy. So I got to the end. I'm like, are you confused? Because I should be confused. Are you confused? And like I had to watch it, again.
Oh, that's a multiple viewing movie.
Sure. Yeah, but even still, that's a bad first job.
Yeah.
What is happening? Why is because you see the trailer, you're going to see some shit, but like that started that fucking trend too. That trailer trend of like, oh, I'm gonna do this big wonk fucking tractor trailer noise thing.
One of my favorite memories of Inception isn't Inception related. It was on 30 Rock. It's Alec Baldwin as the great Jack Donaghy. Did you watch 30 Rock?
Yeah, I love 30 Rock.
There's one episode where he's got to fly somewhere, and he's complaining about it's a long flight, and Liz Lemon says to him, Jack, just take a nap. And he goes, I don't sleep on planes, Lemon. Fear of being incepted.
It's kind of funny how that movie has become like part of pop culture iconography at this point. It's mentioned in Rick and Morty multiple times.
What was the first thing you thought of when you saw the trailer for Doctor Strange? With the cities moving.
Absolutely.
Inception.
That's the first thing I thought of.
Inception, because they did that Inception 10 years ago or 8 years ago.
Yeah.
All right, so get back to Memento. Let's run down where we're at in the story wise. So we start backwards.
I'm like, where?
I gotta say, Andrew. I gotta say, no, it's fine. It's fine. I gotta say, for the first episode of the Invitational, this was an odd choice because, like, it really is. This is a hard movie to kind of like.
It's describe. A dissection movie.
It's a dissection movie.
Well, that's a good way to start.
Yeah. So the movie begins with Leonard killing Teddy. Yes. Right? It starts, the first scene, it plays in reverse.
And I don't think you don't even see who he's killing. Right?
Oh no, you do.
No, you do.
Do you see his face?
You see the back of his head.
The back of his head.
Glasses fly off.
But that's it.
Well, there's a quick flash, the last part, which
he tries to move.
Yeah, if you want to get deep on it, because you see him. You don't know who Teddy is at this point when it's happening because it's literally the first minute or two of the movie. But the way they did it, I'm sure you're aware of this, where they know the sound is all playing forward.
Right,
but the only sound that plays backwards, even though the shot is physically backwards, is Teddy's no.
Huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Leonard kills Teddy backwards. The gun flies, out of it or back into his hand.
Yeah.
The Polaroid comes back in, and then we start. You're following Leonard looking for the woman, the man who raped and murdered his wife. You get the Sammy Jenkins stuff, and then you start to realize if you know the movie, if you've seen it once, and you really pay attention, there's some lines in the movie when the ending happens. Now, the way this movie ends, when you get to the very beginning of it, you realize that Leonard did kill John G., who was the boyfriend of the Natalie character. The suit and the Jaguar.
Well, Jimmy G.
Jimmy G.
Right.
Which that really kind of tips you off to like what the fuck is going on here, because if it was John G, and then it's like, oh, more maybe James G.
Right.
It's like, all right.
So
someone's pulling the
that's
strings.
what I'm getting
Yeah.
to. So
He's not fully informed at certain parts,
Right.
Yeah.
or supposedly.
So you basically find out without getting too far into it that he apparently, and even Teddy isn't reliable. Teddy supposedly was the cop who helped him out or who was
He's
on
even
his
a
case.
John G.
He's even
Yeah,
a John G.
yeah.
My mother calls me Teddy. My name is John Edward Gamble. And you never know in this movie, in the
Where do you
end.
get Teddy from? That?
Teddy's a nickname for Edward.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah. It's
Yeah,
weird.
It's just a Theodore.
It's
thing.
like I never got like why Jack's a nickname for John. They're both four fucking
Yeah, no, it
letters.
doesn't- yeah,
like I
maybe.
get it if your name's Edward, you call someone Ed.
Yeah.
But like Jack and John, it's like just pick one of the fucking other.
Yeah, somehow that one was built into the lexicon. I don't know if it's a New England thing because I've seen multiple people do that, and then obviously Kennedy, like that was it was
Teddy Kennedy. Teddy Kennedy was Edward Kennedy.
Oh, I
My,
didn't
yeah.
know that.
My last remaining uncle on my dad's side is Edward, and we call him Teddy.
Yeah,
So
yeah. It's a little weird, but so you
Tedward.
basically you find out Tedward.
we do. You call him Tedward.
So you basically find out that Leonard has been getting his strings pulled, which you kind of realize throughout the movie.
Yeah.
Teddy claims that he was the cop assigned to Leonard's case. He's the
Right.
only one that believed and felt bad for him. There's one point in the movie where someone questions Leonard on the phone when he's talking to Teddy.
Yeah.
Where are the missing pages from your police report?
Right.
And you start to realize the missing page, Leonard is sabotaging himself.
Yes.
Throughout this whole thing.
Oh, yeah.
The missing police report pages are probably the pages that tell him that they got the guy or whatever happened.
Yeah.
He's changing things. And there's a line in the movie that I wrote down in particular, habit and routine to make life work.
Yes.
So Leonard's life.
That's how he just sees himself different from Sammy Jenkins.
Right.
Yeah.
Leonard's life is unmanageable, which anybody's life would be in that case.
Yeah.
He says at one point, I think in the movie, that his condition is non-reversible.
Right.
So can you imagine living your entire life with not being able to make memories? You have no point. You can't work. You can't do anything.
Right.
So here's a guy who is now changing the story to continuously find the guy who killed his wife.
Yeah.
And we've learned that he's already done it once. You don't know how many times he's done it.
Right.
And the movie ends with him basically, much like the scene where Natalie takes the pen from him, he has a pen. He manages to make Teddy the bad guy.
Yeah.
Now, Teddy is a bad guy in some form. He's definitely a crooked cop at the very least.
Right.
Because there seems to be this drug stuff going on and
Yeah. Well,
the money
he was
is
supposed
undercover,
to meet Jimmy
though.
G.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so you don't know if he
Right.
was undercover. Or
It
whether
seems like he's definitely not a good character.
Because it's Joey P.
It's Joey P.
Just
yeah,
the way he comes across.
Yeah. He
Yeah.
killed that racehorse, and Tony Soprano fucking beat. You ever see that episode?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I know you didn't watch The Sopranos, and I enjoyed it bits. Joey Pants played a character, Ralphie.
He's
That
so
makes
annoying, but so pitch perfect.
Yeah.
In that show.
He had the same mustache, didn't he?
No, he was bald. He was.
Oh, he did. That's right. He was doing.
He wore the wig. He wore a wig.
He had like a blonde wig or something. Right?
Yeah.
the bald thing from Matrix. He was,
Yeah.
he was bald.
Yeah,
then,
yeah.
So. But he still had that mustache in that, didn't he?
Yes, he did. No mustache in this, but he plays a character in Sopranos
Goddamn mustache.
that's like one of the underbosses, and he becomes involved with Tony's life, but he's a scumbag. They're all scumbags, and Tony ends up inheriting or buying this racehorse, and Tony's all fucked up. He has no connection to anything. He falls in love with this horse. This horse means everything to him. He forms a connection with the horse, and Joey Pants' character is betting on the horse, and I can't remember exactly what happens, but the horse loses and he kills the horse.
Yeah.
Right? He kills
Yeah.
the horse, and Gandolfini beats him to death
Yeah.
with his hands.
Yeah.
It is I mean, The Sopranos, when they wanted to go brutal, I mean, especially
yeah.
you're thinking 10 years ago, 12 years ago, HBO, it wasn't like it is today where
No.
you see that every 2 minutes.
Yeah.
He beats him into a fucking gnarly slime.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then on the lighter side, he was one of the brothers in the fucking Goonies, you know. So
Yeah.
Who?
Pantoliano,
Pantoliano.
Robert Davi, and him, and Sloth.
Oh, yeah. When you say brothers, I'm thinking Goonies, not the enemy guys.
Right.
Oh,
They were the
enemy-
Fratellis.
the Fratellis.
The Fratellis, yeah.
Yeah.
Good looking mother.
Robert Davi singing opera.
Yeah. I watched Predator 2 about 3 weeks ago. I threw it in, and Robert Davi's the police chief in that. It's probably the last thing he did in the last fucking 30 years. You have this character who he sabotaged himself into, is that how you look at it? Into believing what he wants to believe in order to keep going. And it doesn't matter in his head how many people he's going to hurt, because in a way he's not going to remember it anyway.
Right.
And
that's, I guess, the beauty of the movie is that it kind of all takes forms of selfishness. Like everybody, it's all just using.
Yeah.
It's all this, you know, it's like you said, there's so many characters that are, you know, have ulterior motives or are unreliable or in some way you walk into this movie and because you see him and it's his story, you want to believe that he's like true with his commitment, you know, that it isn't like just some device for him to not remember what truly happened or to give his life purpose when he has a terrible condition or any of that stuff. And so you want to believe that it's someone manipulating him, and they are. But guess what? So is he.
Yeah.
So like it kind of all filters, but you don't really see a lot of that until the end that he is on that, and that's the beauty of the movie. I think part of that too is that it unfolds to the true heart of what's going on.
Right.
I sometimes wonder for a movie like this what somebody like Hitchcock would have thought of it. Would he have enjoyed the backward storytelling? Would he have enjoyed?
I think so.
Everything about it. I mean, just the way it was laid out for the viewer, or would he have done it differently?
He might have done it differently, but he might have enjoyed it because I read something last week that blew my mind. Do you know that Alfred Hitchcock's like one of his greatest guilty pleasures was Smoking in the Bandit?
Oh, really?
Yeah,
which I just rewatched recently.
We're gonna on the next episode we're gonna talk about that. I want to talk about Burt Reynolds, but I watched it 2 days ago and I've got a lot to say about that.
And the problem here's a problem I have with that. The only reason that's being passed around is because Burt Reynolds said it, and that's it. It's never been documented anymore.
Oh, really?
But let's.
It's Burt Reynolds said that Hitchcock told him that, and that's all you get.
I want to believe it.
Would I like to believe it? Sure.
Miles Davis's favorite album of all time was supposedly Paul's Boutique by the Beastie Boys. Do I want to believe that? Absolutely, I do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Here's the other thing I wanted to ask, because as I'm watching Memento, and again, this is probably the second time I've seen this since I originally saw it. I won't even get into why I saw it the first time, but we could if we really want to. We'll get to the end.
Like,
of
were
that.
you tricked?
Yeah, I was going to say, did you go to a movie or did you wake up like roofied?
Someone talked me into watching it, and he doesn't listen to this show.
Oh, all right. Well, that's all right.
But when I'm watching this, and all I can think of is an SNL skit called Mr. Short-Term Memory. The whole entire time I'm watching this.
Was that Tom Hanks?
That was Tom Hanks.
Hold on. What the fuck's the actor that he's with? God damn it. Tony Randall! That's what he said.
Oh, right.
Oh my God, it's Tony Randall! It makes me laugh every time.
Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah.
That's right. That was
Mr. Short-Term Memory the one
who's
who's
password one when they were doing that?
Yeah, they're on some celebrity game show.
No, it's not. It's not Mr. Short-Term Memory. It's Tom Hanks was on it too. It's like, this milk is bad. You got to try it. Oh, this milk is bad. Oh, this stair is broken. Oh boy,
Mr. Short-Term Memory. They did a number of those.
Yeah, so good though.
It also makes me think of another great Saturday Night Live character. What the fuck was his name? Massive Head Wound Harry.
I knew that.
Massive Head Wound Harry. Yeah. All right, so we've covered a lot in Memento. I wanted to bring up one thing that I thought was okay. A couple scenes I want to go over real quick.
Okay.
That I think were really great. Whether they were funny or whatnot.
Sure.
And we already covered a couple of them. Finding a pen. Trying to desperately find a pen when she's telling him right to his face that she's gonna fuck him over.
Yeah.
The renting of the 2 rooms, which we discussed, which was great. The 6 or the 9 scene I thought was good too, with where he knocks the guy out, kicks the door in, knocks the guy out, and realizes he just happened to look at the door wrong.
Yeah, he's looking for Dodd's motel room.
Dodd's motel room. Yeah. And then one of my favorite scenes that I hadn't seen this movie in so long, and it made me laugh again, and I remember seeing it in the movies and kind of snickering at it, was
the Dodd chase scene.
The Dodd chase scene.
It's hilarious.
Was where okay, I'm chasing this guy.
Oh no, he's
chasing me.
Yeah.
Honestly, the inner head dialogue that you get throughout most of the scenes is probably some of the best parts of the movie.
Yeah.
I mean, it really drives the scene for you.
That's interesting. One of the things that I teased when I was starting this was something that I think doesn't hold up as far as modern cinema or how things have evolved. Because, I think it's the, who's the guy who created the Final Draft software that was like the screenwriter guru? They make fun of him in Adaptation, if you ever seen Adaptation.
I've never seen Adaptation.
Oh, God.
Oh, it's one of my favorites.
That's your brother's choice for movie.
Oh, yeah. Well, he only got, all right, whatever.
I want to throttle him for that one.
Why? You don't like the movie?
I've seen it. It's
I love it. I think it's a brilliant because literally an adaptation of how they did it and everything else. And it's my favorite Nick Cage performance because he has to do so much. Anyway, the point is, I was going somewhere with
nails on a chalkboard. That's what it was for me the entire 2 hours of watching that.
I'll get used to it because we're watching it again.
I know.
Brian Cox's character in that, he's the screenwriter, doctor, or whatever, that he goes to his seminar in adaptation. And the big thing is he fucking hates voiceover narration and
a lot of
any
people
kind
do,
of thing, right? And but you've seen this. I don't know if it's because of Disciple. That's based on a true thing.
Yeah,
that was like part of the script,
right?
Things over time where they were like, "It's fucking hokey, stop this." And but that's what was funny about adaptation is that happens so much in the movie, and then he does that, and he's like, "It's lazy writing. Fuck you. It's just exposition." But that's part of what's in this movie. I think some of the scenes that I go, why is he doing this? Is like the scene where he's in bed with Carrie-Anne Moss and it's the middle of the night and she's laying on him and he's sitting up just talking to himself about the case and everything else. I'm like, and about his wife. I'm like, who does this? I don't care if you have short-term memory. You don't just start doing a soliloquy to yourself out loud.
He does have brain damage. It might be, it might leak into other facets of his life.
And again, this is coming from a person who truly, really likes the movie. It was my suggestion, but especially on rewatch, I'm like, that is something now to where either he's not literally speaking those words out loud. There's more discovery things. There's probably more scenes than there is him being like on the phone half the movie or a third of the movie, or him doing these scenes where he's just literally speaking facts of the case to people who are I thought awake.
We haven't really talked about that aspect of the movie, but the black and white scenes are all him in a motel room talking to someone that turns out to be Teddy in the end. But I thought that was a great way.
Well, that's what you're led to believe. They don't.
They don't really tell you.
He hover fingers over the his phone number, and realizes like, wait, I just did that. Or like he has like a realization then.
Yeah, it seems like person. It is, but in any case, it seems to be a really smart way for
Leonard, you just called me
to tell a lot of the story. So it's not a voiceover. It's a narration. Technique.
Where it's an inner monologue.
Inner monologue, but they do it in a very clever way where he's on the phone and you're not hearing the other side of the conversation.
Right.
Even in that, you're only getting half of what's happening.
And from what I understand, a lot of those things were improvised.
Oh, really?
I guess by Guy Pearce. Like he was doing a lot of that where like he had basic facts, but then kind of.
That surprises me. I would think Nolan would be the kind of director that's like.
He seems like, He seems like
here's my script. Because this was, I wrote it down, this was based on a story by his brother Jonathan.
Yeah, you know that story, right?
No,
not meaning like literally.
They drove across the country, right? And,
yes, Christopher Nolan was moving to L.A. Jonathan helped him move when he was on break from being at Georgetown. On their ride, Jonathan explained like the plot of like what he was gonna write for the short story. The short story wasn't finished yet and it wasn't published yet. And then he was like, "Oh, that's a brilliant idea. I could do X, Y, Z with that." And then so. He got the ball rolling on the film. The film was released before the story was actually published. So even though it was, quote, kind of adapted, because it was kind of not like literally not taking it straight from a book, but literally straight from the source of the book, which never happens. So when the Academy had it, they put it for Best Original Screenplay, not adapted, because the book wasn't out yet.
And Jonathan wrote the story, but Christopher wrote the screenplay.
Right.
Which had, if I remember correctly, there's big differences in it, right? Like in terms of
it's pretty different, and obviously based on how the narrative speaks to itself. There's no.
Have you read it?
The book?
Yeah.
Is
it told in the? Is it?
It's not anything like.
It's linear, or
it's linear, and it obviously with selective flashbacks, but it's not. It's a different type of story. It's a different type of vibe to the movie too. Which speaks to what Nolan is versus Jonathan Nolan. Which I think Jonathan Nolan is great too. I watched Person of Interest. That's a great show.
I watched the first season a couple years ago, and I really did enjoy that.
Yeah,
but it was just one of those ones that
which I fucking hated Jim Caviezel going into that show.
Jim Caviezel to me kind of plays Batman. In the first season at least, it's like this guy's Batman.
No, it pretty much plays that.
And I'm a big Lost fan, so I love Michael Emerson.
Yeah.
But I got to the end of the first season, I liked it, and I guess now that I know it's been over for a few years, I'll probably go back to it because I heard
it's
in terms of shows, I heard that's one that like if you were to base it on the first season, by the time they get to the end, it is a completely different show.
Yeah,
is what
it's
I've heard.
way farther than you think. Like, because it's one of those shows that teases the larger deception that it could be.
Right.
Go higher up and all these other things. So they really take it to those depths. They let, CBS actually let a decent show run, which was crazy. Because I watch nothing on CBS. And this show, I
Not
watched.
a big NCIS fan like John here? Season 96?
No.
The old 96er?
Calling me a fan of that show is stretching it.
I don't
and also which version.
I don't understand you sometimes, though.
The original NCIS.
I remember like a few weeks ago, we went, I don't know, maybe to Terrificon, and we were driving in the car, and you're like, I just watched like 2 seasons of NCIS. I'm catching up.
I'm caught up at
Well,
this
then
point.
you're a fan. I mean, unless you're like, you're hate fucking yourself. I don't understand. You know what I mean? Like,
it's mindless television that I can put on in the background and don't have to think about it.
That's what I do with music, though. I if I'm gonna have TV on, I'm gonna watch it and pay attention
music
to
is
it.
for when I write.
Okay, all right.
I have shows like that though too. Like especially I burned through like the USA catalog for a while.
Oh,
there,
God.
where it was like
White Collar.
I could throw a Burn Notice on the background.
Burn Notice is so bad.
It's so bad, but it's literally like just an updated A-Team, and I just let it roll
the
off me.
first season is actually pretty good, and it just goes right downhill after that.
Yeah,
it's so bad. It's just when you get a guy like Ash.
Bruce
Campbell,
Yeah.
who
Bruce
really
Williams.
just plays another version of pretty much anything he's played.
yeah,
anyway.
he plays the same thing. All the
It's
time.
Sam Ash.
Yeah.
That's like, isn't that his name? In there?
By the way, if you're having unkind words for White Collar, we could talk about that afterwards. It's one of my favorite shows.
I have a lot of unkind things to say about White Collar.
Ugh.
Which
Let's save that for the second
Yeah,
episode.
yeah.
Second episode, we'll talk about all this stuff.
USA programs are just not.
John, you know what you are? You're a royal pain. See what I did there?
Yeah.
See what I did there? All right. One of the other aspects of the movie I wanted to bring up real quick is
How many pages of notes do you have?
I'm done. I'm done with the notes here. I thought this was important though.
That's a new one.
David Julian was the composer. I will say I paid attention. This has a very non-memorable score.
No, it's very subtle.
But it's very subtle because it has to be. This shouldn't be a sweeping Hans Zimmer thing.
No.
But you got to wonder what happened because Julian ended up going on to score Insomnia and The Prestige, and then he went to Hans Zimmer after that.
Right.
He also scored The Cabin in the Woods.
Ugh.
He scored I love that movie. He scored The Descent, which I watched recently, and The Descent is one of the best horror movies of the last 10 years. Have you seen it? Hands down, this movie. You've seen it, right?
No, I haven't.
Oh my god!
You told me about it not long ago.
6 or 7 girls go spelunking, and you don't get to.
I think I only know that word from the Dark Knight, Batman series.
You don't get until the actual horror aspect for almost 45 minutes of what's actually happening down there.
Yeah.
The first 45 minutes, if you're I'm claustrophobic,
cave.
watching these women actresses actually crawling through some of these tight little holes and stuff.
Yeah.
Sounds dirty.
No,
Yes,
you
it
said
does.
women. You said women actors.
And I'm in.
Yeah, well, watching some of these actresses climbing through these little holes, it's stomach churning. It's stomach churning, and then you realize that we haven't gotten to the monster shit yet.
Right.
This movie is really good, and I wanted to mention this because just when I saw the credit, I went, "Oh, John's probably seen this."
Uh-oh.
He one of his later scores was for a TV movie, Dungeons and Dragons: Wrath of the Dragon God.
I have not seen that.
You have not seen that?
No.
John's a big D&D guy.
Oh,
So,
okay.
There's a reason.
so I guess real quick because we're over an hour at this point. We've kind of talked about a lot. Is there anything that we haven't talked about that you wanted to bring up about the movie?
No, I think I covered. I guess the only thing, and maybe John echoes their sentiment. I feel like over time, this movie has taken on a thing sort of like Fight Club in a way, and it kind of goes along the rest of Nolan's career too of how people feel about him. I don't know how you feel about Nolan as a whole, like on a filmography sense.
He's a clever director, and he's got some chops.
I feel like a lot of people tell me I shouldn't like this movie more often than they say it's clever, which is crazy considering, like we talked about, where IMDb has it in a top 50 movie. Library of Congress is accepting it. And yet I find anytime I hear it now, maybe it's a generation past it now, the look back is that they think it's a smart movie for dumb people, and that's what I keep hearing. That, and it's the same way where one of my other favorite movies of all time is Fight Club, and that got the same thing. It was like, oh yeah, it's a smart, toxic masculinity movie for bros, and I'm like, no, but it can also be smart, and people could have also read the book and understand what Chuck Palahniuk does, and have these larger things. And I think both conversations can be true because a lot of people adapted those things. It did become a bro movie, Fight Club. But this one, the same kind of mantra of like, oh yeah, no one makes smart movies for dumb people.
I don't know. This guy is, how far is he into his career? And he really hasn't, okay, we can drop a level for the Dark Knight stuff because that was, he's going along.
Well, yeah. But even then, he did it in a unique, clever way.
Yeah, but I mean, you've got, so Insomnia was right after this. And I enjoyed that. It's a remake of a Swedish movie.
Yeah.
Good cast. Robin Williams was creepy as fuck in that movie.
Yeah.
The Prestige.
I've never been a huge Pacino person past like past like the
that was a bad Pacino,
70s,
by the way.
80s. Like he's stretching it like you're seeing that real bad turn.
Heat.
I rewatched Heat.
Wait.
He loves that movie.
No, I'm not saying an unkind word. I'm saying that's...
I'm coming over the table, Andrew Morgan.
No. That's like that last gasp for
I can agree. I'll actually say this.
For me.
No, and I'll agree, and I'll actually say that was De Niro's last gasp.
Last gasp?
It was.
What are you talking about?
De Niro turned a corner when he made Analyze This, which was great.
Yeah, well...
And
he had to Meet the Parents, Analyze This.
And you're right. Meet the Parents.
He became a cartoon of himself for a bit.
Those two were great, and then he kept making
sure.
terrible comedy movies.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you're right. I agree. Pacino, that was probably the end.
Pacino, it was towards the end of that, and Robin Williams, where he started to really pivot to post, Good Will Hunting and all that stuff too. Or you could say he started with Dead Poets Society, but it really, Good Will Hunting is where they cemented him and kept him going, doing those type of movies.
1 hour photo.
But Nolan, I've never seen that. I keep hearing how great that was.
You want to talk about creep level for him? He turns it on.
Yeah.
It's good, but it's not rewatchable.
Yeah.
Basically.
I got a handful of movies like that. Requiem for a Dream.
Yes. Yeah.
Hey, I'm glad I saw it. I never want to fucking see that again.
No. It's I find that one scene with Jennifer Connelly, and that's it.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
I'll say it.
So
ass to ass. It's fine.
Okay. So
I'm just saying, a lot of people have. I felt like this movie gets attacked more, and a lot of his movies get attacked when I think that he actually tries high-level concept stuff more than most directors, especially directors with the budgets that he gets.
I mean, one of them that we talk about all the time.
I never really thought of it that way, because I don't really hear of him being attacked.
We talk about the movie all the time. I know a ton of people who hate it.
What?
Interstellar. Interstellar's fucking great. I love Interstellar.
I think it's good. I mean, as far as like his work, I think it's a notch below like his other like to me, it's Dark Knight, it's Memento, it's Prestige, and I'm probably fucking forgetting something.
Dunkirk, man.
Dunkirk is good. I liked it. I watched it.
Oh, see, I put Dunkirk fucking way.
I think if I experienced it in the theater, that I would have a different opinion. But I still think it's a huge risk of doing a war movie where you're not real. It's not about the war. It's not about you see. It's just trying to be real, not filling it with a bunch of empty rah-rah dialogue. It's literally just what's going on. It's an immersive type feeling, and I enjoyed that, but it still doesn't make me take a huge ride like some of his other better movies. That's all I would say. Otherwise, I would say, yeah, it's good.
I do love the
movie.
Prestige. You mentioned Prestige. That's
the Prestige. Movie. I think is like it falls along the same lines as what he does in Memento and what he does with Inception and a lot of these things where he does the turn. Which, ironically, is all magician talk and kind of what he does anyway. And I think it's actually probably... The Prestige has probably some of the best performances he's ever gotten from anybody with Bale and Jackman.
Yeah, Jackman's really good in that.
I'd have to watch that again. It's been a long time.
Yeah.
Well, again, I mean, Memento, I haven't seen it in, I don't know, what's this, 2018?
Yeah.
You're looking at...
And if anything, I think when I watch it now, I question Guy Pearce's choice a little bit more because because I just don't know what else you could do with that character, but I think he's inconsistent, which maybe is on purpose. I also just don't know because sometimes he seems vengeful, sometimes he feels cheery, sometimes he feels like he gets defensive about his condition. Sometimes he's like, shit happened.
I almost feel like that in a way, though, that's maybe a byproduct of his condition itself.
But that's what I'm saying. I think it might be done on purpose.
Yeah, because you're right. There's scenes with Bert, the motel manager.
Yeah, where
it's very playful, and he's not even mad about this. And he definitely seems to. And this is, I think, one of the parts of the movie I liked a lot was that shows you how long ago. Because Teddy keeps talking about. How long ago how long did it happen? How long ago did your wife do?
Right.
Has it been years? And, he seems so accepting of the whole thing.
Right.
He never cries over his wife or anything.
Right.
Because it seems like it happened fucking 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And he has completely accepted it.
Yeah.
And he is now, it's almost like Punisher type stuff where Frank Castle's wife and kids are long dead, and no matter what, he's just going to fucking kill everybody that does wrong on
figure
Earth.
If you can't form new memories, and those are the ones you have right on the tip of your
there's
brain.
Not one scene.
There's
not one scene in the movie where he ever seems sad.
He has that scene where he's burning her stuff in that yard somewhere.
But even then, he just seems like he's contemplative. Like he doesn't.
Yes.
There's never a
He's
scene.
like, I probably have done this before.
Right.
He's kind of having that.
How many times did he? Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
He's already shedded the grief.
Which that's a one thing that
he
actually
can't remember it.
Yeah, right.
What do you guys think about the prostitute scene where he hires her to basically
use it?
I don't know.
It was
Russia.
really weird.
Well, but here's the thing: if he has to do that to kind of either A, go to sleep, or B, do something for him, how often does he do this, and does he need to do it more often? How does he have the money for all this? Because
how does he have the money for everything?
For this stuff in this particular movie, he had the money from the drug stuff,
right? And he's
doing some of that.
One of the things I liked about
tattoos are expensive, buddy. I don't have them for a reason, so no matter how simple.
One of the things I liked about this, about going back to the movie and paying attention to it a little bit more, have not seen it in years, is. So he kills Jimmy G, and he inherits the nice suit, and he's got the Jag.
The Jag. Yeah.
I mean,
and when you
the nice suit that doesn't quite fit him well.
Yeah, it's a little off.
I keep thinking of David Byrne the whole time I'm watching him. I mean,
I don't think it's that crazy, but yes,
because it's ill-fitting.
And
you can see, and when you finally figure out where it comes from,
I don't think he looks exactly like a marionette. But
no.
This is not my beautiful wife. This is not my beautiful house. So one of the things I like about it, though, is that. It kind of like one of the questions I even looked this up after is like, why did Leonard take his clothes? Because it really wasn't. I mean, there's a plot device. He finds the note in the pocket.
Because you don't see him really truly do the deed without the suit on, right?
Right. Right.
So,
but what I'm saying is so he takes the clothes and
no.
Online they were kind of like, I read a thing where they were just saying it's the thing he does. Like he assumes this person in a way.
Why does he take a shower in Dodd's place? Because he wakes up, he's like, I'm in a fucking hotel room.
Right.
I don't know whose, but I need to take a shower.
And one of the things I like about it,
dig on my face.
Is so you pay attention to the suit he's wearing in the Jaguar. It was the second best naked fight since Eastern Promises. But that one was much better. If you've never seen that,
dude.
Borat
has the naked fight.
So one of the things I was going to say was
I like the chicks fight.
So you
all right,
you have the blue pickup truck that's parked that you realize is probably his last vehicle.
Yeah.
And look at the clothes he's wearing. It looks like the clothes of a guy that would drive that pickup. He's got the flannel and like the kind of denim jacket or whatever. So it's like he's shedding his skin every single time he does this.
Yeah.
And then he's just,
What are you, Pocahontas?
It just, I don't know. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
That I paid attention. I went, that truck is probably from the last guy he killed.
Right.
And he's dressed like a guy that would drive a fucking shitty pickup truck like that.
Yeah.
That was episode number, I guess, it depends on what we put it out as, but it's the first recorded episode of the Pint Movie Invitational Series. Andrew, thank you so much for coming on.
Hey, I enjoyed myself, man.
I do want to do this real quick. We'll do this at the end of every one, I decided. On a scale of 1 to 5, overall, after everything we talked about, what would you give Memento? Scale of 1 to 5, just putting everything together. As a movie cast, everything about the movie, what would you give it? And you can go halves if you want to go, whatever.
I'd probably go 4.5.
4.5. John?
Yeah.
Out of what?
5.
He said
out of 5.
Scale 1 to 5.
Oh, then if you're going 4.5, I'd probably go 2.
2.
2.5.
2. Okay, bump it up to 2.5.
Maybe 2.25.
No, we're not. Don't fucking do quarters. I would give it. I think a solid 4. I think I enjoyed it more years ago. But it was really cool to watch it again, and I think it holds up.
Well, I think, and for me, I probably would have had it like solid 5 back when I first saw it, was more obsessed with it.
Right.
Now I'm rewatching it with different eyes and obviously seeing Nolan's whole career and seeing better movies since or something. I don't know. And kind of putting it there. And that's where I'd probably say 4.5.
All right, Andrew, do you want to give everybody out there all your social media stuff and Fistful of Jokes stuff and Haha Hamden and all that good stuff?
Yeah, my socials, Twitter and Instagram, I'm at JokesOnDrew. I'm on Facebook, Andrew Morgan Comedian. I think it's Andrew Morgan -comedian on Facebook because my name's too fucking common. And fistfulofjokes.com. If you go in the About section, there's my brother and I both in that. My comedy dates are all on that. And yeah, Haha Hamden, you can see me every month at the Space Ballroom in their front room every second Monday. And it's a new lineup every month. All the best comics in Connecticut are there every month. So just come on. It's a cheap $5 show on a Monday. So especially if you're like a bartender or those people who like work all weekend, your Mondays, Monday is Saturday, everybody else is Saturday. Come out and fucking do some cool shit.
Let's plan on the next one, John.
I can do that.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah, it's fun.
We'll come out and check it out.
Awesome, man.
Do you have any shows coming up, like just doing stand-up stuff? Or
next Friday, the 21st, I'll be at the Beer Racks in East Haven doing a tag team roast battle. Where they literally like have like a wrestling ring and everything else, and me and my buddy Dave Sheehan, who's a very funny comic.
Dave Sheehan's really fucking funny.
Yeah, him and I are tag teaming.
Dave Sheehan's the one I told you who reminds me of the guy from Dumb and Dumber in the phone booth. He kind of taught like he's got.
Well, this will be fun for you. Our tag team name, which I came up with, I'm very proud of. Numb and Number.
Numb and Number. Okay.
Yeah, because we're both very self-deprecating comics who kind of look.
When disheveled. You do a roast battle, well, I got to ask you this now, being a professional comedian.
Sure.
When you do a roast battle, does any of the shit sting for real?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it does.
Like,
right?
Yeah, there's certain things.
I was watching.
It'll be the thing that you didn't think. It won't even be a joke sometimes that lands, but it didn't land because it was probably too personal.
Right.
And people just go, just fucking say that.
Because it's got to be this weird thing where you're this community of comedians. You're probably friendly with most of these guys.
Right.
And you're realizing that even though you're friendly, they're going, Andrew's ears or whatever it is.
Sure.
It's like, and like you're, fuck, does he think my ears are fucked up or something? You know what I mean? Like I watched
one person said I had Trump hair once and it really bothered me.
Really?
Like deeply bothered me.
Can I see your hair real quick?
Sure. Well, I mean, head and all.
No, there's no.
It's just a blonde comb over.
You kind of have Curt. You kind of have Curt Schilling hair.
Curt Schilling hair. Yeah. Check out my socks. They're racist too.
Too soon. Too soon.
I'm a Mets fan. I could say that. So those things, but sometimes something will burn you to where you get it and appreciate it too. Like I remember. Because, we're Fistful of Jokes. I think it was actually the same comic who said the Trump hair thing. Said, oh, yeah, no, Fistful of Jokes really fits you because between you and your brother, you have 5 jokes that work. So it's like that I thought was hilarious, but it's like, I should go home and write some shit.
Wow.
Like it really it'll hit you in every spot.
That's a good hockey puck joke right there.
I watched one of the who's it? Brian Barganier?
Yeah.
Public Access and Chill.
Yeah.
I watched a little bit on YouTube on his channel, I think it was, of one of those roasts.
Yeah.
And these two guys were flaying each other. And I'm like, I've got a thick skin, but like eventually I would think, man, some of the shit's got to sting.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Well, especially because he does, Barganier he hosts a roast battle every month at Scotty O'Boyle's in Meriden. Those, because a lot of people do them more than once, so they have to up their game, or they have to write new material all the time for the same type of people.
And they know who you're going against first, right?
Yeah. At least who you're going against first. And then a lot of those are multiple round ones where you don't know who you're going to get later.
I don't know if I'd even want to see one of those live. Because I think there'd be certain points where I would just be like, especially if I knew you, I'm like, oh man.
Yeah.
That's got to hurt.
Yeah.
That's got to hurt.
I would have, because a lot of times comedians, even just with fucking around, like not in a roast battle, but just hanging out or whatever.
Go too far?
Well, you kind of know what not to do. Like, don't go after someone's family, basically. Like, don't go after their kids. Like, fuck their uncle, but but don't go after like their kids or, maybe their wives or whatever. But like, anything doing with them is perfectly fine. But, I would hope that the same would translate for roast battle. But I've seen some of these ones. They do a lot of them in New York and they televise or they put them online or whatever. And it's like they go fucking right for it. There's one on that they aired on Comedy Central where the guy literally doubled, tripled, quadrupled down on this guy, how his wife had a miscarriage.
Ooh.
And I was like, Jesus Christ, what are you doing?
Now, have you ever? Oh, go on. I'm sorry.
I was gonna say like Anthony Jeselnik, who's
yeah.
notoriously like doesn't shy away from anything, is one of the judges, and he's still kind of like, all right, jeez, so that was interesting.
Have you ever thought to adopt the Eminem strategy from 8 Mile, where you come out and say all the shit about you that you can get out before they can get it out? Hey, that's a good one.
There's rules with that. That kind of preclude that, where it's like it doesn't give you like a time limit. It's joke to joke.
Joke to joke.
So you got to kind of come with your best 5 or whatever it is, and you go back and forth usually. Oh, and if you're in the Waterbury area, I'll be at.
I try not to be.
Well, you may change your mind. This one's at a Cupcake Factory.
Oh, Hardcore Sweets.
Yeah, they're the best. Yeah, so
they're in the same building as
right next to the
the comic store.
And you guys probably know Adam Parisi, right?
I know the name, but I don't know him.
Comedy magician.
I've seen him on your show on YouTube.
Yeah.
You had him on Fistful.
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
And he's great, and he runs that show up there.
Oh, okay.
So
where he's been somewhere that we've been.
Yeah, I think so.
He's always at Comic-Con.
I was going to say,
probably
yeah.
had him there,
He
'cause
definitely
does, all the magic and balloon animals and stuff.
Oh, is that the guy that he wears the vest?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the guy. He's at Terrificon every year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Jerry did maybe you were at the same show.
The panel?
Early summer, he did a show at Hardcore Sweets.
Yeah.
And I was going to take my wife, and we just ended up not going.
Yeah, I've done a show for Adam there a few times. Jerry did it once over the summer. Yeah. Same place, same type of thing. This one is actually a variety one instead of a straight stand-up show where it's just me and one other comic. But then there's also burlesque and drag and all these other things.
Let's go, John. Let's go. All right, so
you heard drag, and that was it.
So make sure to check out Andrew on all that good stuff. Andrew, thanks for coming on.
I appreciate it.
Why don't you stick around? We'll record another episode.
Sounds good.
If you want to check us out per usual, always just go to www.pintofcomics.com. We put up nice little articles up there. John just recently did one on, what was it, Superman, the movie coming back out in theaters this November, I think?
No,
you did the one, I'm sorry, on Back Issue Magazine. And along with that, Superman, the movie, I think, is coming back out in theaters.
I think so, yeah.
For like a limited engagement.
We need to beef up our American numbers because France is right behind us as far as who comes to our website.
Hey, the French, they love Jerry Lewis and they love Pint of Comics.
Apparently, France and Brazil.
Yeah.
It's the U.S., France, and Brazil. I don't know. I can't figure it out.
There you go. All right. So this is Pint of Comics. Check us out at Twitter at Pint of Comics, on Instagram, Pint_O_Comics. And per usual, John, why don't you say the words to make us go away?
See ya.